about like Mihawk actually being a sword, breaking the sword. So we actually got precedent for that because Mihawk broke Zoro's two swords. And
So
also in the Wano arc, we also saw that King, he had a sword breaker technique. Like he could use his sword, and there was a mechanism where he could actually. It was sort of a trick technique, and I think we do have precedent for that. So I really like that theory. So, a week ago, I was part of my first ever livestream collaboration called Cross Guild Connections on Blumfgod's channel, and it went damn near 6 hours long. And I am proud to say that I was there for all of it. It was sort of a reverie for relatively new One Piece YouTubers, but there were some established YouTubers as well, like the great Dax Sake. Shout out to the Mole Gang. The other content creators also had some crazy theories and points to make, so do check out the full video, the link of which is given in the description. I made this video by stitching together much of my participation of the Reverie-Esque livestream. It was a blast as I got to share many of my theories there in front of other One Piece YouTubers. I hope you enjoy, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Besides occasional One Piece theories, I also do weekly reviews and live reactions of the chapter. Now, onto the video. So one thing I want to touch on is like Oda's foreshadowing. We all know, we all love how Oda foreshadows things like hundreds of chapters before. But I felt like Wano, as you already guys said, that it was sort of a culmination point of so many arcs. It was the biggest mega arc that I think we've ever gotten, and I think that he kept teasing us, not only with the big things like Zoro visiting Ryuma's grave or other things like Zoro's arc, but also other little things that when we were reading it live, I mean, when we were reading it when it dropped, when the chapter dropped, it felt like it was going somewhere. For example, I'll just give two examples. Zenbo. The number two is the Sanji's promise to Zoro about what will if he or he cannot do if something happens to him, then he wants Zoro to deal with it. And then I was so interested and excited for what would happen. Like these were actually, for at least for me, my favorite moments of Wano. They didn't lead anywhere.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, especially about the Kazenbo. I agree with you overall, but I
Triple Wayne, you got some?
Yeah. I want to share some of my theories. So I got a couple of them. So let me just tell the name of the theory and you guys can say which one you want to hear about. So the number one, so this theory I was really passionate about is that I think that Sanji will actually hate Dr. Vegapunk's instant cooking machine. So
I said that. I said
yeah,
that in the stream. I was like, bro, Sanji would
yeah.
hate this.
yeah, so I've got a bunch of points. So at first, the concept of food in One Piece, I think, is like when you compare other shonen series, like of course not food-based anime like Toriko
Food
or Food
Wars.
Wars, not anime like that. But if you compare it to other shonen, like you can say Bleach, Hunter x Hunter, there are gourmet hunters in Hunter x Hunter. But if you compare them, as I said, One Piece has a lot of importance. It puts a lot of importance on food. So we got Zoro's backstory. We know where we first saw him starving for about 3 weeks, I think. And then Sanji, of course, his entire thing is cooking. And then he also went had that terrible backstory about with Zeph not eating for about 2 months. And we also had a lot of other things like Yamato fasting, Samurai not eating, and Yokogu.
Luffy.
But the most
Luffy
important thing,
fasting.
yeah,
And Whole
yeah,
Cake.
yeah. Yeah, of Hulk. Yeah, that I really love that scene. It's one of my favorite scenes of all, like in One Piece ever. So one particular character I would like to focus on is Troyson. So he's probably Big Mom's first husband. It's not confirmed, but he's probably Perospero's father. So if you look at the similarities between the faces, like it's almost a done deal. So his double foot ability, if you remember, it's like he can turn any non-living thing into food and it's edible, but it's not tasty. All right, and also Chopper actually specifically says, I think it's 1061 or something, that everyone would love the instant cooking machine except Sanji. And I don't think that's just a throwaway line because Sanji, of course, he on one hand he's very caring. He would want everyone to be fed, but I also think that he also cares about how food is prepared as well. So I think it was in one of the movies or something where Luffy was saying it doesn't matter how food is prepared, it just matters if it gets in my stomach. And then Sanji was like, no, the preparation is also important. So and also film Red, it's not a big spoiler, but when Uta, her devil fruit powers manifest a ton of food, then the camera zooms in on Sanji. And of course, Sanji doesn't say anything. He wouldn't ever say anything to a lady, but his expression isn't actually happy. It was somewhat of a somber expression. So yeah, and also I'd like to touch on another thing, which is that the instant vending machine or the cooking device, there is a list of food that's shown on the panels. So let me just list them. I took some notes. It's a hamburger, drink, steak, omurice, tonkatsu, cotton candy, cake, ramen, fried chicken, and hot dogs. So if you look at this list, you'll actually see that all of them are fast food. So it's not prepared, right? So I think that it's something like
It's
a
literally
vending.
fast food.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So it's something like a vending machine that we could get, like not proper restaurant meals or something like cooked with passion. So I don't think that the even though Oda is bringing up all this futuristic stuff, and maybe the ancient kingdom had something like the instant cooking device where everyone could just eat whatever they want, but also there's another catch. It's not something like a miraculous food producer, so you have to give ingredients to that. So yeah, I think that the main point of that video that I made is that Oda wouldn't just devalue food by just having a machine that could produce any food whatsoever without preparation, without the passion of cooking, without ingredients even. Yeah, so that's my theory.
I like it.
I like that a lot. I actually have something to in response to that, and I
Triple
So
N.
I'd like
Now
yeah,
go ahead,
yeah.
go ahead, go ahead.
So I'd like to add on this, like add to this by saying that different people, as you were saying, all people have the capacity to have conqueror's haki within them. Like it's just that some people, like it's clearer. For example, for Zoro, it was less clear than it was for Luffy. So I think that even Nami has conqueror's haki. I mean observation haki in the sense that she can foresee the weather. So that's a form of advanced observation haki as well. And also Sanji also has advanced observation haki by the way that he can sense women. And also Odin had that power as well. So it's like some abilities, some types of haki are more inherent to some people based on their personality, based on some other things. But I also think that these can also be learned. Maybe not all of them, like you were saying, not like the Rokushiki. These can be learned, but I think that some others can also be learned because Kaido knows future sight. He said that something like this. He also knows like it's more attuned to Karakuri because of his personality. Like he is always calm. At least he
yeah.
pretends to be calm. So it was easier for him. For Luffy, it's not so easy because he tends to be like it's his personality to always be goofy and always like to not care so much about it all the time. So that's why he doesn't use future sight all the time, but he does know how to use it. So yeah, I think that it's sort of similar to Hunter x Hunter. Like you are attuned to specific like
Exactly.
yeah powers, but you can
Exactly.
also learn some adjacent powers as well.
And
Also,
Zoro can detect booze better than anyone, even though he's
True.
not shown to have
Yeah.
great observation hockey. It's like what Triple N was saying. It's like the things that matter to you is you get a heightened ability in terms of your hockey ability.
She
You
also
have
has those ringed eyes when she like slims down when she's on a rampage. She has those ringed eyes. So we were also talking about like Mihawk having them. So some others characters do have them. For example, even Caribou has them. So I don't know what's the deal with Caribou, but it could be something like possession because we know that Hakuba has it, and Hakuba comes in when Cavendish is sleeping. So it's something like two souls in one body. So we know that Big Mom is all about souls, and like her devil fruit power is about that, um, about Caribou, I think that it also has to deal with his devil fruit because he can store a lot of things in his like bottomless pit, right? So I think that those eyes, and also Emu, of course. So I'm not sure about Mihawk. It could be something related to his
And
Hawkeye,
Luffy
like
has him in Gear
clairvoyance.
5th.
Yes, yes.
true.
So it's most probably very relevant, and it will be
Zunisha
explored,
has
I
him
think.
too.
the
Yes, Zunisha. Okay. So I made this theory almost a year ago. So I made it after 1031. So I think it is 1 year ago. So it's about how every single week's anime episode actually has a parallel with that very same week's manga chapter. So I'm not talking about like chapter 1000 being animated about 1 year afterward. So I'm not talking about those parallels, those comparisons. Of course, it's going to be almost the same. The anime is just going to drag the manga chapter out. But I am talking about what, for example, this week we got chapter 1068, right? And then in the anime episode it was 1043. So actually there were parallels in those two, like the chapter and the anime. So let me just list out some chapters. I have it written down. So for example, I'll just go to the main ones. For example, Jinbei. So yeah, so in chapter 1018 it Jinbei versus Who's Who happened, and in the very same week in the anime it was episode number 981, and guess who returned, like after 2 or 3 years? It was Jinbei. So that return of Jinbei actually coincided with the manga chapters, like that chapter was entirely about Jinbei versus Who's Who almost.
Yeah,
So
last
it's,
week
I
was
think,
about the Robin's flashback with Saul and
yeah.
everything, and that was the same week that they did the whole Vegapunk
Yes,
going to
yes.
O'Hara.
Yeah, it was actually 1 week apart, so it didn't match out. It didn't match up completely, but yeah, it still did match up. Like it was just 1 week afterwards. The week the anime episode came in, the week before that, the manga chapter had that Ohara flashback. So
Hmm.
there are actually a lot of parallels. I listed out about 40 actually from last year. So I also made a video about it. If you're interested, you can check this out. Yeah, so I think that Oda doesn't, of course, plan out all of the parallels. Actually, he shouldn't even plan out all the parallels, because if he did that, then he would have to line up what he will draw in the manga with the corresponding anime episode, right? So I don't think that he does that, but he leaves some Easter eggs in
Hmm.
there. For example, when like many people, not all One Piece fans, even hardcore fans, don't actually watch the anime, but still many of them do. So when they read the anime, I mean when they read the manga chapter, and then on the same week they watch the anime episode, they will get some link between them, even if it's something slight. For example, it could be something like Sanji using the raid suit for the last time, and then in the manga chapter he actually broke the raid suit. So that actually happened. That was another parallel. So I really found that very interesting. I don't think that all of them are actually coincidences. Can be, right?
Yeah, no, you're
I
right.
agree.
There. I've noticed that before, like especially with
Okay.
like the Robin one last couple weeks.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, I've noticed.
Right.
But
Yeah, and
I've
I mean
noticed that a
there's
couple
like they,
times. I've noticed that a couple
yeah.
times. All right,